Hey everybody, welcome to Camel Chat. I'm John McPherson, and I'm here with my guest, David Dalhot. I got it right.
Yep.
Your wife didn't pronounce it right for the first year?
Yep.
Oh God. People still pronounce mine, it's McPherson, McPherson, or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. So David is awesome, and you're going to find out why. Sunnyside Millworks. Now, we became friends through Instagram because I followed you, you guys followed us, and we had some dialogue. Then people are going to find out a side of you that they did not know. I mean, I've talked to friends, they did not even know this existed. Is it a secret?
What?
The roller skating?
I've got hidden skills.
Hidden skills. So no, it was so funny. We were at I was at a birthday party. You were there. Were you at a birthday party as well there? Okay, so we're both at this birthday party, and you had on a T-shirt, and I said, "Oh, do you know anybody at Sunnyside?" And you're like, "Yeah, me."
I know everybody.
And I go, and we got to talking. I'm like, let's exchange numbers. And then you were going out of town, and of course we've been doing some stuff. So we finally got this, and this has been one that I've wanted to do for a while. And I don't know if you know why I wanted to really do this, but it has to do with the single wheel device that's out in your. That was one of the best. How many followers did you get off that one video?
I've lost track of social media stuff. I honestly don't enjoy social media, but
you guys are racing each other or running through the shop on a.
I wish we were racing each other. We only have one crazy cart right now, so we're in the market for another. But we do time trials, which is equally as fun. But you can't bump into each other while you're racing. So.
That's right. Well, because racing is rubbing. Mm-hmm. So let's go down the path, and here we go. Where are you from, and how long have you been in Winston?
Yeah, born in Seattle, Washington. Really cool place to grow up. We moved when I was 8, but those first 8 years, I mean, the diversity that the Northwest has, from farmland, going to tulip festivals, going to the glaciers, rainforest, the beach, the San Juan Islands, whale watching, having those experiences growing up, I wouldn't trade for anything. But
and the temperature is very similar to here. It's almost like we're about the same level, but most people think that's so far north. But
yeah, no, it's similar.
Except for the rain.
The rain, and honestly, like, I'm kind of grateful I grew up in that environment, because like now, winter and fall and rainy season don't bother me. I actually love it.
Right.
Where my wife is from Florida, and gets seasonal depression, if you will, when it's not bright and sunny out. So I love the rain. I loved growing up there. It never really affected me, but you just kind of deal with it.
Did you get her one of those lights? I have friends that live in Minnesota, and they have this
full
light,
spectrum lighting. No.
And you're supposed to like sit in front of it for an hour a day so that you don't.
No, we have not gone down that rabbit hole yet, but I've heard about that.
But you ended up in Florida.
Yeah, so from Seattle, my whole family moved to Maine, where my mom grew up in northern Maine, potato country, Aroostook County.
No snow there.
No snow, very balmy.
Yeah.
My dad was in construction and ultimately couldn't make a good living doing high-end residential construction for that clientele. They're good old boy potato farmers, and anything that breaks, they can fix themselves, like a lot of our farmers we have here in North Carolina. So we ended up hop, skip, and jumping down to mid-coast Maine, Camden, Rockland, a lot of vacation people from New York buying islands and building multi-million-dollar houses.
Right.
So that was the environment I grew up in. Also, really cool stuff growing up right on the coast of Maine. I was in construction up there for a few years and had lobster boat rides to working on private islands, and kind of took it for granted in a way. Thinking back on it, people pay thousands of dollars to go up there and see these sunrises over the islands and stuff, and it was a daily thing that I got to experience, which is really cool. Ended up moving to Fort Lauderdale, Florida when I was 17 for music school, actually.
Okay.
A lot of the guys I was working with in Maine, a lot of them had never even left the state.
Right.
It's a very skilled craftsman, and so the way I kind of viewed it was saying, I was building these skills. I knew that I could always go back to that life if I wanted to, but I also didn't want to just stay there. I want to get out and see the world a little bit. So decided to pursue music for a little bit and have a change, and moved to Fort Lauderdale for a music school, which was a great, change of pace, just something completely different. Met my wife down there, did music for a couple years, realized I was not too motivated, but like music was not gonna fulfill me.
It wasn't
in a career path that I wanted, and so I still play music. It's been a while. I feel bad about that every day, that I need to get my keyboard out and play some more, but there's only 24 hours in a day, so. Ended up getting into custom cabinetry down there, worked at a shop near Boca Raton, had a lot of cool experiences working in Miami and West Palm Beach doing some really, really cool stuff. But ultimately, kind of plateaued.
Right.
You know, I hired on with my former employer when I was, I think, about 19. And by the time I was 21, I was running his small shop, about 5 guys, and organizing everything. He kind of stepped back a little bit. And what kind of bothered me about it was that, like, there wasn't really any room for me to go farther. I could have taken over the business. I mean, we developed a really great relationship, and I was kind of like a son to him. But when I started talking to my wife, South Florida wasn't really in the cards of what we wanted,
right.
You know, raising a family. And so we started looking at our checklist items of, we want to buy a house, we want to have kids, we want to have a dog, and we're like, we don't want to do any of those things in South Florida. So that kind of created this very, like, you think about being somewhat of an adult. I was in my
right.
early 20s, hitting the reset button.
Welcome to the real world.
She didn't want to go to Maine. You know, winters are, I like the winters in Maine, but she didn't.
Right.
And so
Seattle would have been out too then.
Seattle would have been out too.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was this open, like, we can go anywhere, which I was like, dang, like, a lot of people don't have that opportunity. And from the skills that I had gained in construction and in cabinetry, I wasn't worried about finding a job, but the bigger concern was, where are we going to go where we can have good community? Which Fort Lauderdale was awesome, ton of people, and my wife was born and raised there, so her network of people she knew was huge. Right. And I grew up in Maine and was used to you give the 2-finger wave to every car going down the road because you know who's driving it, right. You know, and so we had one good friend of ours, and his wife had moved from Fort Lauderdale to Winston. He took a job at Baptist Hospital. And I remember the conversation like it was yesterday. He called me to check in or something, and we were talking, and I was like, how's Winston? How you like it? And he's like, dude, it's really cool. And this was in end of 2012. And so we coordinated a trip, rented a car, and we drove up, and I think it was February 2013. And they showed us around and introduced us to their friends and went to bars downtown and stuff. And like, we were blown away. We're like, this guy knows everyone. He's only been here for like 6 months.
Smallest big town in the world.
Yeah. And we're going down, there's a gallery hop and all these artists and
cue the deer.
I know, exactly. And so we fell in love with it. And so we're like, well, it's as good a place as any, honestly. Right. And so I turned in my notice at my job and found a job up here and moved up. And it's been a wild ride since.
And we're going to get to that because it's crazy.
Yeah.
Some of the people you've done work for and different things like that. It's just amazing. But 2013, you and Amber get up here, and then obviously you add to the brood.
Yeah, so rented a cool little apartment on 6th Street, got to know some neighbors around. We could walk right downtown and gallery hop and walk to different restaurants, and just loved that season of our life. I was working my way up at a construction company in town, and I think maybe 7 months into living here, we found out we were pregnant with our daughter, and super excited, but the apartment we were in was tiny. It was like 600 square feet, and so we started looking around, bought our first house down in south of Washington Park, which we still live in that same neighborhood. We love the neighborhood. Once my dad is still in Maine, once my dad found out that we were expecting, obviously, first grandbaby, you know, his wheels start turning and stuff, and so I ended up kind of connecting him with my boss at the time, and they hired him, and so he moved down and worked for the same company that I did for a few years. Right. And so Dad came down. I convinced my brother to move out from Portland, Oregon. So he moved here.
You know the mayor's going to dub you an ambassador of the city if you keep going.
I'm a big fan of Winston. I am, and I think I've lost track, but we've kind of convinced a lot of people. We don't have to do much convincing. We just try to open our house and say, hey, come and stay with us for the weekend, and we'll show you around. And Winston kind of sells itself, honestly.
The guy that I was talking about to your buddy over at Cardinal Joinery, saying that him and his wife wanted to move here. His wife ended up moving here, but I mean, it's just it's nuts. It's a great place to raise a family.
It is, and honestly, it'll spoil you too. You know, talking to people here in Winston who've been here for a while compared to South Florida. You know what I mean? Like, you can get anywhere in 10 minutes. Like, there's no traffic. It's not a Charlotte. It's not a Raleigh.
Traffic's like 20 minutes instead of 15.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and so we lose a little perspective in dealing with what other people deal with in the world and in the U.S. But like, it's got some cool stuff. It's growing, in my opinion, it's growing at a good rate. It's not growing too fast. It's not growing too slow. I know a lot of people want to see more big corporations come, which I would like to as well if they're the right ones and are going to do the right things for the city. But I'm happy with the trajectory it's on, personally.
Cool. All right, so let's ask the second question.
Okay.
What's your favorite place to eat?
I would say Ryan's.
Ryan's?
Love the vibes.
Dennis does awesome. Really like Ryan's is awesome.
I've never had a bad meal there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of restaurants I've had bad meals at, but just it reminds me of like an old chart house or something. Going with my grandparents, like it's just a lot of restaurants will remodel and try to keep up, and I just think keeping it classy and keeping it traditional the way they have it is just done perfectly.
And then what's your favorite thing to do around here? Because now your kids are how old?
My daughter's turning 8 on Saturday.
So mine's July. She'll be 8.
Which is, I mean, I talked to my wife last night. I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, she's 8. You know, she's as old as I was when we moved from Seattle to Maine, which I remember all those memories. And I'm like, she's creating those memories like right now. You know. So, and my son Finn is 5.
Okay.
So, and he I think weighs more than she does. He's I call him Tank. Like he's a little beast and just so happy-go-lucky, just easygoing. He was jumping his bike in the alleyway behind our house. I told him the other day, I was working in the garden, and I was like, you know, why don't you make a ramp and jump your bike off these ramps? And I was like, we got some bricks over there, and we got some big pieces of slate stone. And so he starts dragging them out in the alley. I was like, just be aware cars go through here, so if a car comes, you got to move all your stuff. And next, I turn around and I look, and he's got 3 bricks stacked up on top of it. I was like, "No, dude, you got to just do one.
You got to start with just going over the bump first."
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
So, but he's it's like looking in a mirror and like at myself back in the day. It's a lot of fun.
So obviously with the kids and stuff, what do you like to do around here?
With the kids, we go to Bailey Park a lot. We go down to the coal pit by Incendiary. They
tool around down there.
Their scooters, their bikes. It's just cool. They meet, you know, they're in school, you know, so they have their you know, classmates and stuff, but like it's so fun just to sit back and watch them interact with strangers, especially my son, because he'll walk up to anyone and start a conversation.
My daughter will just walk up to a kid at the playground and
go,
you want to play?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're best friends.
I wish adults could do that.
Yeah, no lie. Speaking of which, now, so you get here in 2013, you're hired on with a company. Well, this was not your intention, so you had some friends kind of go, basically, dude, you're better than what you're doing, do this.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. So I started Sunnyside as a kind of side hustle.
Right.
Like I like working.
Right.
You know, I guess you could say I'm a workaholic, but like I really enjoy working. I get up every day. I look forward to what I do. But I also have no problem working a 12 or 14, 16-hour day.
Right.
You know, it doesn't bother me. And so when Finn was born, we got 2 kids. When Charlie was born, we had some health issues. She had a lot of severe food allergies. We were in the hospital a lot, and so those medical bills just kind of racked up. And when I started looking at the finances, I was like, we're going into debt every month, just a little bit. You know what I mean? But that adds up. And so I was like, how can I make a little bit more money? And so problem solving. I love problem solving. I was like, well, I got these tools. I have a single car garage in my basement. I got these skills. I've got nights and weekends. With my wife being at home with the 2 kids and the baby and the 2-year-old, like I was like, she has a retail management background. Right. I was like, you're not gonna go to the mall and work retail management at a store. So I said, that doesn't make any sense because we'd have to pay a babysitter what you're making. And so I said, let me figure out if I can figure out a way to make some additional money. And so we started Sunnyside like that. Cutting boards, coffee
charcuterie.
tables. Oh, we were so excited.
Were you Etsy-ing it?
No, never Etsy. Nothing against Etsy, but we never went down that rabbit trail.
Just go online and search cutting boards on.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 75,000 hits.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
We had, because of the network, because of the people we know and met, like people were so supportive early on. And so I remember my wife and I, we had grandiose plans of making a little showroom in our basement of our 900 square foot house and just stuff. And there's, looking back at that and also looking back at what I was stressed out about in the early days was just kind of comical. You know?
Well, I mean, what people don't realize is it's just like with real estate, the market predicts the price. with you, your market predicted what you were going to do. So no matter how hard you fought it, if you had even tried, no, I'm just doing cover, the market told you what to do.
Yeah, and so word kind of got out. Friends believed in us. Friends supported us, which was
kind of a Winston-Salem thing.
It is a Winston-Salem thing, even business-wise.
Yeah.
Even potential competitors, like in woodworking, like we're all helping each other out. Like if you run out of a material, we got people we can call who are technically competitors, but it's super supportive. The plan to make a little bit extra money to pay bills kind of backfired because quickly when we started selling and had some cash flow coming in, I realized that we had efficiency issues. And I needed better tools, and I needed to buy a vehicle. I wanted to be very respectful of the company I was working for.
And there's a sale now at this place, and I can get the tool I need.
Yeah, and so it was logical. I was just like, we can do this faster if we have this and that. And so I think 2 years went by before I paid myself $1, and it was just like funneling everything back through. Hired my brother part-time to help me out. Hired a friend of mine part-time. A buddy of mine who owns a welding shop, Andrew Viator, he's about a block from here. You know, he offered me some square footage in his workshop. He's like, I got this 500 square foot corner, but the ceiling height's like 16 feet. I was like, oh man, I gotta go up, you know what I mean? And not be knocking my head on the ductwork in my basement, you know? And so, but that was a daunting stress of, you know, $300 a month. I was like, I don't know, man, $300 a month, that's a lot. Like, I don't know, you know, and so, but I pulled the trigger and we moved and, went from 500 square foot to 1,000 to 2,000, 3,000, 3,500, and then he's like, dude, I can't give you any more. Right. Like you're maxed out. And I think I had 5 or 6 employees at that time, maybe even more. And
and you're still working the other job too, right?
I was working the other job until I can't remember the exact month. I was talking about it earlier today. It was almost 3 years, and I had like 3 full-time employees before I ended up quitting. And honestly, the success, if you will, of Sunnyside, I feel like a lot of it was because I had that opportunity. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs or people who have small business ideas are just like, I'm going to quit my job and jump into this idea. And
you got to put your toe in. That's the thing. But you also have to invest what you can in it. So if you can't do it, then you do.
You do, yeah. And everyone has different circumstances. I'm very fortunate that I had the opportunity to keep working, keep my benefits for over 2 years, and grow something. Granted, I was working 40 hours for my employer, and I was working about the same, if not more, for myself, nights, weekends. So it was exhausting.
Helps out your relationship too when you work 2
jobs. Oh yeah, my marriage was flourishing. No, but we both saw the vision, and you know, in those hard times.
And she's your partner in a lot of this stuff too, which is really cool.
And especially on a retail store, like we partnered on that together, and it's doing business with your spouse has its challenges, you know. And right now, so since we ended up we started a retail store downtown on Trade Street, Sunnyside Mercantile. Had a lot of fun times there, did a lot of cool stuff. We had poetry nights, we had fundraisers, we did a lot of cool stuff. COVID, it did not make sense. And it was an emotional thing, but like it did not make sense to keep the store open. And so we let the lease go and closed it down. My wife is a phenomenal photographer, and that kind of took off simultaneously. And so now she's doing her thing, photography. I'm doing Sunnyside, and
you're hiring her to take pictures of things for you.
She's taking pictures of stuff for us if she has time.
Yeah,
like
fit you in.
Yeah, exactly. But it's personally, I like it better not going home and having to talk about all the work stuff with your partner.
Right.
That's me personally. I know a lot of couples can do it and do it well. I was never a big fan of it. It's just I wanted an escape from the stresses of work and going home and talking to my wife about other stuff. You know, so. And which is what we get to do now, which is a lot of fun.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about this, but we got to take a quick break.
Yep.
All right, we'll be right back with more Camel City Chat. Welcome back to Camel City Chat. I'm John McPherson. I'm here with David Dalhot.
Correct.
See? So I have a question for you. David's with Sunnyside Millworks, and of course also Cardinal Joinery, Linwood Builders, and some other stuff, and we're going to get into that. But I got a question. You said something earlier, and you were in Southern Florida, and so I thought I'd ask this, and it's always I ask stupid questions. Okay. Famous clients.
Famous clients. When I was in, you talking when I was in Florida or locally here?
Well, I mean, because I know then we started during the break. You started to tell a story, and I figured this would definitely, you know, kind of cool clients and things like that. So
yeah, my famous clients don't like me talking about them.
Okay, yeah. So. I mean, South Florida though. I mean, you getting a Shaq's house or stuff like that?
No, I worked for one of Apple's original people, which was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Really cool record collection.
My brother did oh gosh, what is it? Environmental assessments and like way back in the day, like did Jerry West's house, and stuff like that.
Cool.
But so you were starting a story, and I didn't want to ruin it and not have it on tape. So you said one of your guys was getting ready to go travel.
Yeah. I mean, you were talking about a lot of the clients we worked for over the years, and what I was going to say is like, I'm almost 7 years into working for myself,
right.
And my memory's starting to get a little foggy of some of the cool stuff that happened early. It's just like I have so much room in my brain, and I'm running at such a fast pace and doing so much that.
And you're still, the thing is so different. What people don't understand is it's not about you anymore.
Right.
It's about them. Trip's showing us around. Trip Lot, phenomenal guy.
Yeah.
He comes up to me and goes, I listen to your podcast. And then, of course, we got to talk about Madison Haglin.
Yep.
So Mary's grandson works here. Holy cow.
Yep.
So
one of my employees, Jordan, and I need people to push me, and I tell my guys, I was like, if squeaky wheel gets the grease, like I'm
right.
busy, and so I push all my people to come up with cool ideas and stuff that we can do. But I traveled out of town with a couple of my guys recently for a project, so we had some downtime. We're hanging out at the hotel by the pool, and I started kind of saying that one of my goals personally would be to write a book about like my experiences
right.
at some point, but I don't prioritize it. I don't make time. And he's like, let me help you with it. He goes, I'll write some questions, and then you can work through them, and then I can help you consolidate. And so that's something I'm looking forward to doing over the next year or so. But it's cool when I have employees that are fans of the story and are working in this cool environment and are helping me. You know what I mean? I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to create a good working environment for them and take care of them as employees. But it's cool to see them like pushing me to step outside my comfort zone or to do stuff and make time for it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because I don't want to forget so many cool things. I feel like people can dwell on the negative sometimes of just like, this is the stress of the day. This is the deadline. We got to work nights and weekends to get this project done. But like, there are so many cool stories about awesome stuff that's happened, or where we got jobs right when we needed them, we didn't know how we were gonna make payroll, and just like there's all those kind of cool small business things that I'm like, from early on 6 years ago, I feel like some of those memories are starting to fade, and I'm just like, I have this opportune moment right now to try to capture some of that and get it down on paper before I just
definitely do that. We our guest last week, so we recorded it actually yesterday, but we'll air it'll air next Wednesday, and it'll be the Wednesday after that. Was telling us that he wrote his 2 books that he wrote on his iPhone, the first edition, typing them in like that.
Really?
And I try to write down all, this building actually was a Reynolds building.
It was.
And as soon as Tripp said, well, the older cigarettes come in here, I knew what was going on, and the reason why is because we used to have a store called K&S Newsstands, and we would sell cigarettes and things like that, and because of that, I flew in a hot air balloon over the city of Winston-Salem. So you got to keep writing those things.
You forget it, and the stories don't get passed along.
No, and so and one of the things we did one day is I was testing my camera out that I have. David's got a different one. And my dad has done all kinds of crazy jobs, and he's 97. And so I just started recording it. So, if you just take the time with this guy and said, I saw it, it's right there. You've got the iPhone stand. Yep. Come in here and ask a question, answer it on video. Then later on you can go back to it.
We have the technology right now, and I feel like life is going by so fast that, people are taking pictures and documenting stuff that they'll never look at, but one of my bigger regrets is my dad moved his parents up from Daytona Beach after we'd been here.
Right.
They had their own house. They were still maintaining it in the pool, and they were getting older. And so we brought Grandma and Grandpa up here, and my grandfather was in construction. Mm-hmm. He went from boat building in Norway, and then they moved over here. They lived through the occupancy of the Nazis during World War II.
Holy cow, yeah.
But he built boats, and then he found out he could make 5 more cents an hour building houses and made the switch. But I wish I would have documented more of his stories and stuff, because I'm, whether you think it's hereditary or what, but he built houses, my dad did, now I'm in the same trades. There's a cool connection. So I'd go to the nursing home that they were at, and we'd talk about architects, and we'd talk about what projects I was working on, and there were some really cool things and stories that I feel like he's told me over the years. He passed away a few years ago, but he's told me that I just feel like it's gonna slip away, because they weren't documented, and that my kids are not gonna know some of those, which kind of makes me sad.
I completely understand. That's why I did that with my dad. I'll have to share the story with you. I can share because I'm not doing anything with the video right now, but I'm just keeping it there. But the story of the block and tackle that they put on top of a telephone pole to pull his teacher's wagon buggy up on is like you're crying by the time it's over with. You know, like
you definitely
stole the key from his father.
Need to
and all this
document
kind
that
of
stuff.
Yeah. So famous clients, you're not gonna tell me. I knew you wouldn't anyway. I'm just kidding. But you know, some of the guys that have gotten you where Stitch is huge.
Stitch is huge. I mean, local fame. I mean, Adam Andrews, like one of the hardest working people I've ever met. You know.
No, he doesn't do anything.
Just lounging by the pool.
Yeah, it's amazing to me because I went to see him there. I'm gonna actually see him tomorrow, but I went to see him the other day and we were talking about something, and it was like while he and I were walking to go look at something, he's got his nephew now building raised beds next to the old, the pine, twisted pine place.
Yeah.
And he's still getting that ready and all that.
He's got his garden. He's got multiple restaurants, and he's like, whenever I call him, I was like, "What are you doing? You want to grab a drink or something?" And he's just like, "I'm catering. I'm doing this. I'm doing that." He's like, he's always running full steam. And I have a lot of respect for that because a lot of people these days don't respect hard work.
Right.
So,
but it'll pay off.
It will,
and it already is.
He's hustling. Yeah.
So I mean, what got us to where we are now? So I mean, you're in this warehouse, and it's a cool story. I mean, so this warehouse was used by Reynolds. They would take out of date cigarettes that couldn't no longer sell domestically, rehumidify them, and then sell them overseas. And so you shared with me you bought the building. And how many square feet do you have on this side?
So the building in total is 75,000 square feet. Our side is about 30,000. The other side that I have tenants in is 45,000.
Right.
And I'm trying to sort out if I want to do real estate or not.
Right.
Like having tenants is cool. What I love about having tenants is I can do for people what people did for me in the early days and give me a chance of.
Right.
You rent the space. You don't need to sign a lease. See if it works out for a month or two, and I feel like some landlords are like really trying to pin people down to sign a 3-year lease or something, and a lot of people with cool ideas, they don't want to take that step quite yet.
It's your new incubator space.
Yeah, it really is, and so I've got a handful of tenants in here trying stuff out, and it also takes time. It takes time for me, so I'm weighing that out right now. I'm just like, there's only 24 hours in a day, and I'm kind of soul searching, like at this current time, saying, my daughter's 8, my son's 5. There's only so many hours in the day. I bought some land up in Virginia last year on a river. We're trying to do some planting and farming up there. I'm trying to not have a heart attack by the time I'm 40. You know what I mean? I love what I do. It's really stressful. I feel personally responsible for every person who works for me.
That's the hardest part that people don't understand.
Through COVID, through these last 2.5 years, it's been insane. And I feel like my personality does well with it. I also am extremely tired and, just it's a weight that I carry, So I'm trying to figure out, do I want to do real estate? I've looked at getting my license, and I like connecting people. I've thought about getting referral fees and just trying to make deals happen.
Right.
I'm also still running these businesses, and I want to get my pilot's license. I tried to do that 2 years ago, and just it did not happen because I got too busy on some projects. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what my future looks like. I'm 32. I got a lot of life in front of me, but I love the fulfillment of what I'm doing, but I don't have any hobbies.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Guess what mine is?
What? The podcast?
I just started woodworking.
What have you made?
So I started off with the glue the different boards together.
Yep.
And made a cutting board.
Cutting board, cool.
Made a second cutting board.
What wood species did you use?
I say my cousin Walt, and the reason why is because a buddy of mine. I think they're now killing gophers, but Kevin B. Roth has that band. So that reminds me, it's my cousin Walt. So what's that? It's maple, cherry, and walnut.
Cool.
All right, so that was my first one. I've gotten into some bloodwood now, tiger
Cool.
wood. I'm doing a tiger wood, oak, maple, bloodwood, 9 pieces, 36-inch long cutting board.
Cool.
And then I'll show you a picture of it. We made a a swinging bed.
Cool.
So that learned about pocket holes and things like that. I went to the Cardinal Joinery guys and I go, "What are you doing? No pocket holes here?" And of course they were just like dying. Yeah, we'll change our name, Cardinal Pocket Holes. And then the big one, and I'll show you a picture of that, is and I may even need to share the plan with you since this is something that you love. I made a keyboard stand.
Cool.
So it's a keyboard stand. It's wood, and then you lift up. And it rests on top, and it has a place for you to put your iPad.
Cool.
And then the drawer pulls out. And I'd never done any of that stuff. So I did hinges in the drawer, and it worked.
It's a lot of fun.
I about cried when it worked.
My older brother works for me, and I talked with him the other day, and I was just like, our only interactions right now at work, like we don't have a whole lot of other commonality, but we're best friends. We're best friends growing up. We did everything together, and so I was just like, we need to figure out a way to do stuff outside of work, because whenever we talk, it's always work related. But he's made some cabinet doors before, but he never really used a shaper to do them.
Right.
So a couple days ago, I had like 45 minutes. I was like, come on, let's go set up the shaper with these two different bits to do this shaker style door. And he really likes building cabinets because you can see a lot of stuff quickly, and not as into hardwood. But like, talked to him earlier today, he's like, man, that was a lot of fun making those cabinet doors. And it's things like that, like learning new skills. I'm trying to get all my guys to always just not stop learning. I'm still learning new stuff every day. It's different skills than actual like how to build something. It's how do you terminate someone tactfully? How do you deal with this? These are different life skills.
Right.
Communication. I've switched my viewpoint recently from being like, I need to deal with these really difficult conversations, to be like, how can I get the most out of this situation? Because there's other business owners that I look up to who are dealing with things that are far beyond what I'm dealing with. And I want to take advantage of every opportunity I have, even if it's really difficult, to learn from it and learn how to be a better, boss and person, through that.
My brother, I guess it's been 15 or 16 years he's been gone, but we all worked together in our family business. He was the best at letting someone go. By the end of it, they were like, well, I'm so sorry I let you down. Because what he would do is he would say, hey, here's what our expectations were. Here's what do you feel like you did that and that? I mean, there's just such a tact to that. It's not something anybody wants to do.
No, but the more you do it, the better you get. Like it's like any skill, you got to sharpen that, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a break here, and then we're going to come back and just roll through the next segment positive and
cool.
stuff.
Sounds good.
We're letting fun. No, but obviously, who do we need to call in?
We'll get to that in a few.
Yeah. I want to talk about the other businesses and also some of the cool things you've done, like the tree and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be right back with more Camel City Chat. Welcome back to Camel City Chat. I'm John McPherson. I'm here with David Dalhot, and we are sitting inside Sunnyside Millworks.
No S.
Millwork. You know what I should do is have it be ministries, which is what I think I said earlier.
We're running a ministry.
So yeah. Praying the wood. Oh my God, there's so much wood. Could you just let me back the truck up and
I got some scrap you can take.
No, I'm not taking the scrap now. No, but I couldn't. I mean, this one that he is working on here, that slab is beautiful.
We've been giving a guy scrap for his blacksmithing forge to burn.
Really?
Yep.
That's crazy. Yeah. So so you've done work with Stitch, you've done work from Adam Andrews. Today your phone's blowing up because you're in the Triad Business Journal because some stuff you did for Piedmont Federal.
Yeah, at Piedmont's awesome. They really helped us out during the early COVID days.
Right.
The whole PPP loan stuff. They kind of walked through that journey with us and helped us keep the doors open.
And you did something that I did, and I'm it's kind of like when I ran KNS News, I was like, the stores are open every day. The stores are open every day. That was the thing. I paid my team through COVID, and if without a PPP loan, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And it's just amazing that we're able to say that.
Yeah, and so through that, and then I've known Piedmont's CEO David Barksdale prior to him getting the position at Piedmont, and so we were talking early on there. He told me they were getting into business lending, which Piedmont never did.
Right.
Prior to him.
Oh, was that not the most awesome thing when they started taking business accounts?
And so one of my commercial buildings I bought was their first business loan, and so we were talking about it, and he's like, yeah, we're getting into this. So I was like, well, I need a loan for this building, and I was like, I'll be your guinea pig if you want to work out some of the kinks. And so we talked about it. We're like, yeah, let's do it. And so their first business loan they ever did was a building that I bought, and they learned a lot through it. Like, it wasn't the most efficient process,
right?
But we got it done, and they're off to the races now. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I have a classmate. I've got several friends that work there, but I have a classmate from the Winston-Salem State when I got my master's there. About the time you guys moved here, actually,
Cool.
And she helped me out on a deal recently, and just they were doing something special where it was like no points, and just I mean it's crazy.
Yeah.
And
exciting to see
they knocked 1% off their loan. I mean 1% off their interest rate.
Yeah.
And then of course it blew up after that. So let's see, Finnegan's Wake.
Yeah, Finnegan's Bar back in the day.
Yeah.
Super excited for Finnegan's to open up hopefully here again soon.
Really?
Under new management. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Good. That's good to hear.
Miss having lunch at Finnegan's.
All right. Yep.
Hotel Indigo. We did a lot of work in their actual hotel rooms as well as the whole bar and main lobby.
600 degree.
600 degrees.
And so you've got.
Was there last night.
How much do you not love that corner? So my wife and I will go downtown sometime. I still go to Adam's stuff, so don't. But I mean, you've got Alma.
Alma.
You come around. You got Incendiary. You've got. Is there? I mean.
Anchor Coffee is there.
Yeah.
Black Mountain Chocolate.
Black Mountain. I mean.
Black Mountain Chocolate space.
Learned one of my favorite games from the guys that play that flip the color thing over at Black Mountain Coffee. I think they told us that, or was it? But it's called Nerds or Peanuts. It's a solitaire game. My wife and I play it. I mean, we are like trying to get cards underneath the other person, and I mean it's horrible, but we have a lot of fun doing that.
Awesome.
And just on nights that we've gone out down there and just sat around, got a sitter.
Yeah, I mean I'm excited for live music to come back.
By the way, if you need a sitter, I've got a phenomenal babysitter. They're like gold.
Really?
Yeah. So let me. I'll give you her name.
All right.
Yeah.
Don't publicize that over the podcast.
No, she drives, and it's one of my neighbors, and she's like really good. So
You don't have enough babysitters.
No, never.
Luckily, my
never.
dad lives 4 houses down.
Did you ever think that babysitters would be like gold? Yeah, really. Yeah. It's like you don't share them either. But since we're best friends, since what we're supposed to do, I'm supposed to say, hey, you want to play? And then your favorite project you told me was the tree at Milton Road. So explain this tree to me.
It was there was actually a design contest for Milton Road Center for their art gallery space. I don't know how many architects submitted drawings, but Stitch got the contract for it, and they designed this really cool CNC cut tree fixture. There's big concrete mushroom columns in the whole structure that start. I think they're probably between 24 and 30 inches in diameter at the bottom, and they flare out at the top. And so they designed this tree that I think the branches had 6 different lengths, differing from like 16 feet out to like 40 feet off of the trunk in these radiuses. And I think there were maybe mid-50s branches. And so at the base of the tree, there's all these different ribs, and then it just flares out across the ceiling.
And see, I got to go back and see it, because remember when you told me, I'm like, I remember it, I remember where it was, but I didn't look up to see it. And I think that's the thing that sometimes when I was focused on getting to talk to Tommy at the time to get him on the show or something like that, and you just we don't take the time.
Right. At that time, I mean, it was probably 4 years ago now. I think 3 or 4. I was still actively involved in the workshop every day.
Right.
Before I started Little Builders and Cardinal Joinery, and so my role in the business has changed since, but I still love getting my hands dirty. I love being in there when I can, which is hard to divvy up my time right now. But it was such a fun project. I mean, we literally drew the whole thing, all the 55-something branches out on the ground.
Right.
And used a laser and shot points up to the ceiling and anchored it and cabled
Gotta do laser.
it. And then it was a fun project.
And so, I mean, now you have obviously, I know a secret of you. I know your source for some of your machinery. I will not say it.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah, but I mean, what a cool, because I saw the drum sander. And that's one thing that I'm learning about snipe and things like that. But I figure with cutting board or stuff like that, I can always sand the snipe out if I have to. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. But they make it like it's the worst thing ever. But it's handcrafted, so I'm not.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, so drum sander's the bomb.
Yeah, we're in the market for a bigger one. It's just trying to find the right deal and stuff. There's always a longer list of tools, and so we're going to buy a new table saw this week because one of the ones we have is not powerful enough for some of the cuts we're making. But it's just.
And people don't realize that wood's just not wood. I mean, like you pick up a piece of blood wood that is the same size as a piece of pine, and it's 3 pounds difference.
Yeah.
Now, what about so Tripp showed us around. So, we're over here. You got this amazing amount of beautiful wood that if I needed one thing for this, that, or whatever, that's over there. Then you've got the workshop here, and then over here we've got like the painting area and things like that. You've got, 2 heated rooms for drying and painting, and they're already vented and stuff, and that was left over from the previous owner. And, it's just... I love the mentality here. Tripp's like, we're not messy. We know where things are, but, we're also working.
Right.
So and then you sublease out or sublet out in a sense, but not really because it's your business, Cardinal Joinery.
Yeah.
And what a cool concept that is. And I told you guys, I was involved in the housing side of my church, and my church is like looking for someone to fix these different things. And you guys, what's the oldest you've gone back in a sense? So, I mean, it's not the oldest, you know what I'm asking. What's the oldest window or joinery piece you've gone back to, you think?
I'd probably have to consult with Tim. I know we've done some stuff in the 1700s, mid-1700s, which is just so cool to think of. What's transpired since then and what was going on when these structures were built, and the fact that they're still standing. And that we're able to work on them, but that we're also rebuilding windows and shutters and sub-sills and stuff the way that they used to.
And then, what would be really cool is if you had like a blacksmith area where you could, you do. So you have a blacksmith area so you can recreate the latches and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was Tripp's. Tripp's been pestering me about that for years, and I was on vacation a few months back, and the squeaky wheel gets the grease, like I told you. I want my employees to have been cool.
Will you leave me alone? It's there.
Yeah, but I really get excited when other people are excited.
Right.
I think if you ask any of the people I've either partnered with in business or whatever, like Cardinal Joinery, Zach, there's 2 Zachs, confusing. Zach, and Tim. I knew one of the Zachs, and we all met up, I think it was May 2020. And we met up we had a meeting at Dogwood. Right. And then I took them upstairs in Dogwood. And then we climbed the roof ladder and got up on the roof and had our first business meeting on the roof while there were like protests going on down the streets and everyone was afraid of all the glass getting smashed in and stuff. But we were talking about, I get really excited when I see a need in an industry. And anything construction related, I kind of know what the needs are, but the historic window game and shutters and the craftsmanship that these guys had, I asked them straight up, I was like, why haven't you started your own business? And they're like, we're kind of daunted by the thought of doing that and what goes into that and operating it. And I was just like, well, I'm doing a lot of that anyway, so we should all just partner up and do something together.
Well, especially with,
I said, I got the shop space, I got a lot of the tools already, and we'll slowly, and so, the 3 of them are newer to running a business, and it's stressful. There's cash flow issues. You're trying to get paid on jobs. You're not getting paid on jobs. You're having to lean properties. But I always go back to them when things are a little stressful and say, you realize we started a business with 0 capital, right? That's unheard of.
Right.
We literally started, and now we're ramping up, and we're to a point where we're doing a huge job for Mecklenburg County.
I was going to say, Michelle McCullough, you get in with those historic preservation officers, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, we'll call them.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a natural feed. Yeah. And if you do good work for somebody, they brag about you.
They do. And that's, for me, I'm not big into marketing. I don't like marketing. I don't like it at all, actually. But sometimes it's necessary. But word of mouth, you can't beat it. You take care of people. You go above and beyond. You throw stuff in for them. You get to know them. They'll rave about you if you do good work. So.
Well, tell me about Linwood Builders, and then I got one more question for you to get you. I know you got work to do.
Same thing. Growing up in New England, there's a level of quality up there that I'm not saying that's not in Winston. Things are built to withstand the winters up there, so everything is overbuilt, and it's still standing. And the Boston, you look at all those those houses, those kind of cottage style houses, and so growing up working in that environment and building things at a certain level, coming down here, I was like, not a lot of people going to that level, and I know there's clientele in Winston that wants it, and I kind of heard some of the good old boy of, you get these millionaire clients, and they say, hey, this is what I want, and money's not really an option, and you hear some of these good old boys be like, yeah, that's impossible, you can't.
You mean cedar is not vinyl, it's actually a cedar shake?
Yeah, or it's something creative, think outside the box, you know what I mean? I want to have this TV screen hidden behind this thing, and and so I love thinking outside the box. I love saying yes and then figuring out how I'm going to do it. That's how I built the tree. Right. We priced and figured that out, like I had no idea how I was going to build that thing when we saw the blueprints. But I said, I'll figure that out later if we get the job. And we got the job. I was like, all right, I need to start thinking about how we're going to build this.
Well, one of the guys was in here drawing something out that's in the joinery side of things, and it's like, so I've walked around and I saw what Tripp was working on. It's like everything's like, and then it's like you're looking at it.
It's confidence. It's knowing that you can do something if you need to, but if like we estimate so many jobs and we don't get a lot of them because we're competing against other companies that might not do things to the level that we do them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so you got to bid all these jobs, but like I'm not going to figure out how to build something until we know that we have the job, and then we'll figure it out. But if you know that you can figure it out, then it just takes the pressure off. And so our whole team here is just like price it, and then if we get it, there's no doubt in my mind that we can figure out how to build just about anything. So for Linwood Builders, it was just the kind of customer service side of it. It was saying yes to these clients and giving them what they want, and they'll pay for it. And so I had a good friend of mine who was a friend of Adam's as well, and he needed someone to finish his house for him.
Right.
And I'd known him for years and said, hey, like, you've met me, you've met my dad, who's a very qualified contractor. And I said, we'll finish your house for you if you want us to. And I had seen a need in the industry, so within like 2 weeks, we had an LLC, we had insurance, and we were up and running, and that was almost 3 years ago. And since then, I've brought on 3 business partners because I can't do it all myself.
Right.
There's only so many hours in a day, and I like valuing people and giving people. I serve my role. I feel like I'm the visionary in some senses, where I see the vision and I kind of chase after it, and then I get other people with other skills on board to help accomplish the vision.
Right.
But we're having an outing. I'm looking forward to it. We're going bowling as a company tomorrow. We're all getting together, rubbing shoulders, different crews, just kind of, we're trying to keep, life goes by so fast. We're trying to keep the culture good. We're trying to keep everyone communicating effectively with each other. And part of that is doing fun stuff together,
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you get to the end of your career and you're like, something I've been talking to my wife about is we just work. We work to make money. It's like, well, if you start breaking it down, like, why do we need money? We need money to pay our bills. Why do you have bills? Well, because we have a house, we have a car. So, like, you break life down to a simple level, and it's like you need shelter and you need food to survive if we're looking to live.
Right.
And when you simplify it to that sense, it's very simple. And so, like, what do we need? Like, how are we making our money?
Right.
And are we actually enjoying living doing that? And I think a lot of people don't. I know friends of mine who are counting down the days until their retirement and they're 30-something years old.
Right.
And so I won't do that,
What is it they say?
Where I don't enjoy what I'm doing, I'll do something different.
You either live to work or you work to live. Yeah. All right, so I got to ask the last question. I already told you what it was. I cannot believe someone that I've met that likes music left the Seattle music scene. But no, in all seriousness, why do you love Winston so much? I mean, I know why I do, but why do you love Winston so much?
Honestly, it's about the people. Like, the city's cool. You know, it's nice. You got all 4 seasons, but you got cool architecture. Like I love the city, but if you took all the people out of the city, like, to me, it loses everything that it has. Right. And I don't know what it is about Winston and the people, but there's a connection that I haven't felt anywhere else I've lived. Right. Of support and help. I'll hit a brewery a couple times a week and just run into other small business owners, and we all, vent to each other. We all talk because we're all in the same boat, So we talk about the challenges, we talk about this, but we help each other out, and it's just this. We've got text threads of people helping each other. It's so supportive, and a lot of the business owners are people who are shaping the city. You got Ledbetter, Brian Ledbetter, Airtype, and you got Andy Tennille at Ramcat. There's a ton of Drew Gersmeyer, one of the developers in town, doing a lot of the stuff in Industry Hill. You got all these guys and girls who are shaping the city, and we all know each other, and we're all trying to do it together. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of fun. It really is. But I think you remove that community from it, and Winston loses a lot of what it is, in my opinion, which I think sets it apart from a Raleigh or a Charlotte. I don't know. I really don't know what it is, but I like it, and obviously I've planted roots here. I have no intention of going anywhere. We're very, very happy to be involved and very fortunate and to be involved in what's happening here.
Man, I can't thank you enough. This has been awesome. I really appreciate it.
It's been a couple years in the works. I'm glad we finally made it happen.
Definitely. David Dalholt, my guest, Sunnyside Millwork. Great company. You can check them out online.
Yep.
All right. And Smitty's Notes, you've heard of that. Jeff Smith, right? So Jeff sponsors us and gets us up on there. And
awesome.
So we just appreciate you being here, man. Thanks you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Certainly. We'll be back next week with more Camel City Chat.